Is it terrorism? A much-repeated question that's asked by government agencies in the wake of an attack. And while it seems simple at first, making a call can be a struggle.
The deadly terror attack. In
2015, there were almost 15,000 acts of terror in the world. The problem is that there's no internationally recognized definition for terrorism. The UN has been debating it for years. The FBI defined terrorism as the unlawful use of force or violence against persons or property to intimidate or coerce a government, the civilian population, or any segment thereof in furtherance of political or social objectives. So, essentially, it comes down to motive. Was there a political or ideological agenda behind the attack? Take this. In March 2017, Khalid Massoud ran over civilians on Westminster Bridge and stabbed a police officer in the Palace of Westminster. He killed 4 and was shot dead by police officers. It was the worst attack in London for more than a decade. It was labeled terrorism. In 2012, 20-year-old Adam Lanza shot and killed 27 people in the now infamous Sandy Hook massacre before turning the gun on himself. He was a recluse, obsessed with school shootings, but it wasn't called terrorism because he had no known ideological intent. The reality is that in some of these cases, it's less clear-cut. But sometimes it can be used out of bias.
There is a danger that we only use the word terrorism to refer to a particular racial profile of perpetrator.
In June 2015, 9 people were killed in Charleston, South Carolina, when Dylan Roof opened fire in one of the oldest African-American churches in the United States. He was later found to be a white supremacist. But despite multiple calls for his crime to be considered an act of terror, Roof was convicted for hate crimes and murder charges, not terrorism.
The Charleston example is a really important one to really conceptualize exactly how and why terrorism is essentially contested, and in this case we get to the heart of the debate. Sometimes terrorism is not used when the nationality of the perpetrator does not fit conventional stereotypes.
So, what is terrorism? It seems that for some cases it may be obvious, for others it may be a lot more muddled.